That's not even half of the injuries that I've gotten. That's just some of the few clips that have been on film. There's countless other injuries that have happened to me while not filming. So yeah, I know something about injuries. In this video, I'm pretty much telling you how to recover from injuries, because let's face it, if you skateboard or snowboard or do any sports, you're gonna get injured. It's just gonna happen. Like, I don't think I know a single skateboarder who has been skating for years and years and has said, I've never had an injury before. Like, it doesn't exist. So today I'm gonna tell you guys how to recover, because my body, besides being a little chubby chub and feeling some extra weight, my body feels totally fine. It feels like I've never been injured. My left ankle has been rolled countless times, which doesn't count as a permanent injury, because then it usually heals. So I'm not even going to count how many times, because I honestly can't count. But I've rolled and torn the tendons and ligaments in my left ankle probably like 6 or 7 times, and I've needed crutches. My right one, though, just because that's my back foot, I've only torn the ligaments and tendons in it maybe twice, possibly 3 times. Never broken it. Also, I've broken my left ankle, the actual bone, twice. So I had pretty weak ankles at one point, and I didn't know how to fall. So that's part of my next video that I'm going to do, which is going to be a part 2, and it's going to be how to fall properly so you don't get injured, because I was doing stupid stuff with my ankles, and I see my friends do the same thing, and I'm like, dude, you're going to blow out your ankle if you're going to keep landing like that. So yeah, you actually can feel the difference between rolling your ankle, like tearing a ligament, and breaking the bone. So like, you can actually kind of hear the bone pop, like you feel it pop, but you also hear it, and like that vibration gets sent throughout your whole body. So I mean, obviously your whole body is there, and you know, I mean, technically it's mostly water. I don't want to get too scientific. Maybe the collagen and blubber that you have in your body. Either way, you can feel that vibration when that happens in your ankle, and you can feel and hear it in your ear. So like, it's not like an external hearing, like you can hear it like coming through you. It's really hard to explain, but when you break your ankle, like, you know, usually when you roll your ankle, there's sometimes a pop, but usually you just feel the pain and it burns. But when you break it, you can actually feel and hear it. It feels the same though. You can't put weight on your ankle, obviously. You're gonna need crutches. The first few times I had a boot, then when I rolled my ankles, then when I broke my ankle, got that x-rayed, because thank goodness I have insurance, and that's also what I stress. Get insurance. Just have some form of health insurance if you're going to skateboard or snowboard, because like I said, you're going to get injured, and when you need to go to the doctor and get an x-ray and you have insurance and you don't have to pay a copay at all, or you only have to pay a few dollars, then obviously that makes it worth it right then and there. So it's inevitable. Get health insurance, and if you live outside of America and you guys get free health care, then lucky you. But yeah, so definitely go to a doctor, get your injuries checked out. If it is hurting, don't just try to walk it off and think it's going to get better unless it's pretty mild. But like, if something's obviously wrong, and again, you'll know something's wrong, go to the doctor. When it comes to injuries and trauma, they're your friend. But yeah, and I had a cast on my foot one time, the first time I broke it, and that was horrible, because I had to like take baths and like lift my leg out of the tub, and it was a pain. That thing started to stink, it started to itch, I had like skin rashes when they sawed it off. Like, it was nasty. So the second time I broke my bone, I actually requested that they just put the little boot on it, and I used crutches, and they're like, okay, well, the cast is mostly there on top of protecting it from outside injuries. It's to keep you from wanting to put weight on it, where if you have a boot, you can obviously kind of walk on that. But if you have a broken bone, don't put any weight on it. Don't even like try to limp. So I was able to talk the doctor into not doing a cast the second time, and I was like, well, I know the routine. I've been on crutches many times. I've probably been on crutches like 7 or 8 times. Like, I've had countless ankle injuries. Pulled out my back, can't really explain that. That was just me doing a handstand the wrong way, and I snapped my arm. I'm sure you guys have seen that famous video where this arm was completely whacked in half, and Yeah, so I don't know how the focus is on the camera and how the depth of field and tightness of it is, but this will probably be the best way you guys can see it. So yeah, the bone right here, right in the middle of my humerus, just, it was like that, bam, snapped it like that. When I actually got an x-ray, it was like that. So my bone was literally snapped sideways and then like pushed up, so they had to like set it, and I had it in a cast, and then like gravity kind of aligned everything. So I'll go into depth on how I was able to get that all sorted out and fixed. But whew, that was a bad injury. But you wouldn't know that I snapped my arm in half in my humerus. Like, I'm not trying to downplay people that break this, but okay, you have two bones here in your forearm. Most people, they just break one. Like, you still have that stability. That keeps everything aligned. Also, when you break this area, for the most part, you just can't use your wrist and that part of your arm. So like, yeah, you got that part broken. You can still lift up your shirt. Like, you can lift up your arm and put your shirt on, and you can't do all that. When your humerus is broken, you can't change your shirt. Like, your arm is just dangling and it feels dead. You feel like Gohan after getting hit by one of the blasts from Cell during the Cell games when Gohan's Super Saiyan 2 and he's trying to protect Vegeta. Literally, that's how you feel, is your arm is just dangling there. You can't feel it. If you even try to move it, even if you try to move your fingers, they won't even move. Like, it's just dead weight. So yeah, you're gonna be stinking. But that's another thing. But here, let me grab a little weight. But yeah, no, this one isn't too heavy. But again, I broke this arm. Whatever, you know, doesn't feel like I ever broke it. The only thing is, the bones kind of like formed in a knot when it fused together. So like, if somebody lays on it, like if me and my girlfriend are cuddling and she lays on it like that, or if I lay on it, or if I'm getting a massage and there's too much pressure here, it stings, because I don't know if it's like the bone pushing into like a nerve ending or something, but it hurts. But that's not the bone, that's just the angle the bone was and then formed. So, oh yeah, and then I also have sprained my wrist a lot, and the left arm, I don't know if you guys have seen some of my older videos, but I was wearing a wristband, and I just thought it was a sprained wrist, which heals itself in a few months. And it's supposed to heal itself in a few weeks, but like 3 or 4 months had gone by, and like I just couldn't put any weight on it. If I wanted to do push-ups, I had to do knuckle push-ups. Like, if I fell on it, it just made me want to scream. So I went and got it x-rayed, and the doctor was like, your wrist isn't broken though, I don't know what's going on. So he made me go get an MRI, and they saw that I had torn the ligaments and whatever in my wrist. And he was like, oh, well, if it doesn't heal, give it more time, then maybe have surgery, because right now I think it's just weak scar tissue. And I had to explain to him, I was like, so if it's not currently injured and I'm feeling this pain and it's mostly scar tissue, shouldn't I work on like stabilizing the muscles around it and strengthen that so it'll compensate for like the scar tissue, versus just letting my wrist totally just fall apart and just sit there? And he's like, oh, I guess you could try that, that's a good idea. And so that's what I did. I literally just, did hand squeezes, I did stuff like that, and I strengthened everything that was not damaged around my wrist. And again, now it feels like I have a normal wrist. So yeah, again, another injury that doesn't seem like I've had. So right now, honestly, it feels like I've never broken any bone, I've never torn a ligament, I've never had an injury. I feel as good as new, and I've had probably 20 to 30 injuries where I've had to visit the doctor in the past 15 years or so of skateboarding. I don't think it was injury related, but I messed up my knee snowboarding, or it was hurting, and it helped me identify an issue, and I was able to fix that too with physical therapy. So, enough of all that, and I'm going to go down the list of how to recover from injuries and get to the really good stuff. So, the first thing is probably going to be ankles. You guys are going to want to know how to heal your ankles, because even my friends on my Facebook, they keep hurting their ankles. So I'm going to explain how to heal your ankle when it's hurt. Obviously, usually your front foot rolls sideways, so that tears, for the most part, the outer ligaments on your ankle. and that gets overstretched and it tears or it pops. In one case of mine, it actually separated, and that was really bad because apparently it's like multiple like rubber bands, and obviously if you pull a rubber band too hard, it pops. That happened to me. Horrible, painful. I didn't need surgery. I don't know how. You guys would probably have to debate me on that in the comments, but that was a bad one. That one actually probably hurt worse than breaking my ankle. But again, don't let your ankle tweak like that. That's going to be how to fall video that's going to be coming up, where you don't want any stresses. Like, it's better to just fall on your side than let your ankle take all of the impact and then pop out of place and get all screwed up. So again, details on that in my second part 2 video on how to fall properly. But once that happens, well, you got to recover. The number one thing is don't put weight on it. Stop trying to limp on it. Stop trying to walk it out. Stop trying to act tough. I've had to be in some situations where I've had to limp. If you don't really get embarrassed easily and you're around maybe people that just don't care, hop on one foot. I've had to do that a few times where I've had to hop on one foot to my car. There was another time where I just sat on my skateboard and I just rolled myself over to my car because it was parked on the outside of the skate park and it was all concrete. So I just kind of just dollied myself over there. And yeah, you don't want to put any weight on it. Obviously, like I said, go to the doctor, get it checked out, and then figure out if it's broken or if it's torn or just rolled, which is the best case scenario, and that usually just fixes itself in a few weeks. And you can usually just limp on it if you've rolled it, but crutches do speed up. So yeah, besides the doctor, I'm going to be your little doctor. Disclaimer, I'm not a licensed doctor, physician. If I give the wrong advice, please don't sue me. I'm not liable. I don't know what legal stuff I'm supposed to say, but this is just from my personal experience. You have a choice to do this, and so on and so on. And I don't know. I see other people on YouTube do that, so I'm gonna do that. So yeah, this is just my advice. So stay off it. Don't put any weight on it for a few days. If you do know, like, obviously, if it's broken, you'll know. If the ligament's torn, you'll definitely know. If it's rolled, then it'll progressively get better. But again, you don't want to put weight on it. The timeline for breaking your ankle and tearing the ligament is fairly the same. So the first few weeks, not few days, few weeks, you want to use your crutches as much as possible. Even if you got to get up from your bed to go pee in the middle of the night, get the crutches, go there, pee. Do not put any weight. Like, any bit of pressure, that's going to screw everything up. You want no gravity, no pressure. You want everything to eventually like form and get back into place and heal itself. Let your body's immune system take care of it, clean everything up and react. And when you're putting weight, you're obviously just damaging it more. You need it to get more solid and strong. So that usually takes a few weeks. Once the injury is scar tissued or fully filled in and healed, then you want to start doing stabilizing and strengthening exercises. Don't go jump out on your skateboard just because you can do something, because first of all, like, you're going to feel weird when you're putting weight on your foot because your ankle is not going to have any stability. So you're going to be all like, I can't do anything. It's going to hurt to even ollie. You probably won't even be able to ollie because your ankle is so weak you can't even flick it. So it's going to be tempting. I know you're technically going to be able to stand on both feet, but at this stage, you do not want to put any like risks of rolling it again. You want to strengthen it, and like muscles, to strengthen things, you got to use it, and you got to use a little bit of stress and stuff. So one of the best exercises is just standing on one foot. So you break your left ankle, just stand on one foot on your left side and just try and balance. And your body, like, it may not be moving the ankle, but it'll be holding it. Like, I can't put my foot up in the air, but you're just standing there and your ankle is going to be kind of like twitching, and it's going to be balancing. And dang, I went in sleep mode. I'm trying to use it as a light. Anyways, so your ankle is just going to build those stabilizing muscles. That's the first thing you want to do. One of the things they've had me do in physical therapy is bounce like a ball back and forth against a wall, staying on one foot, and just play catch, and try not to put your foot down. You can always catch yourself and put your foot down. Another thing is where they'll put like a weight on the ground or something that's heavy on a towel, and then you just take your foot and you kind of grab it monkey toes and you just slide your ankle and you pull the weight over. And it's going to feel weird because instead of being like a fluid motion, your ankle is going to kind of like twitch, and that's a sign of weakness and instability. So you may think, oh, I can pull this, but again, your ankle is going to be spazzing out. So you want to do that. A lot of places, if you do go to physical therapy, I don't know where you can buy stuff. You could probably buy the little stretchy rubber bands, but you want to get those bands and you want to like stick it in a door or something, put it around your foot and do the little ankle swipes. You want to put tension on it and you want to move your ankle back and forth. You want to do it in all directions, forward and back. You know, you're just going to stress it in all four directions, maybe do some circles. You want to make sure that you have the strength and the pain is gone and you're able to keep everything fluid and not be all like spazzing out with your ankle. You want everything to be smooth. So once you're able to do things smoothly and you're able to do all of that without any pain, then you're kind of ready to skate. Now, the thing is, you don't want to go hard and do tricks. What I had to do during my last bad ankle injury is I had to tell myself, no tricks, no tricks. But I would skate and I would just ride around the ramps. I'd push and all that because, I mean, you're pushing in one foot and obviously, you know, you're still using stabilizing muscles. You're using your ankles even when you're pushing and riding. When you're riding around, you're shifting your weight, stabilizing muscles. So you want to try to get that muscle memory back. And then do that for maybe a week or so, which is what I did. And then you want to do ollies, like little light ollies. You don't want to be trying to tweak stuff. You're just trying to get that fast twitch muscle fiber going back into action. And then once you can ollie and do that flick without pain, because the first few times it's going to kind of feel like you're breaking your ankle, but then the pain goes away literally a split second later. You want to do ollies, make sure the pain's going away, and then you can start doing flip tricks and little impact drops and, you know, jump down stuff that's maybe like a curb or like knee high or something, and see how your ankle can heal, how it can feel the pain. So if you're able to like drop off like a ledge that's like that high and land, you know, bolts and keep riding and you don't feel any pain, then for the most part your ankle's probably fully healed and you can start skating bigger stuff. But if you do feel a little bit of tightness, again, take it easy, just kind of let those muscles strengthen, because you're not going to build muscle overnight. So the long story short on that, with most injuries, especially the ankles, is let it fully heal before you risk doing anything to possibly break it, because your ankle is more likely to roll or have some type of issue after an injury because you don't have the strength, you don't have the stabilizing muscles, and you're more likely to get injured. I see my friends do this all the time. They'll get healed and then a few weeks later they go and skate and then boom, there goes the ankle again. It's like, dude, you're not ready. You need to be patient. You're just going to drag this on forever. So that's that. With the wrist, I kind of told you guys, I pretty much just let it heal. Again, it's the same concept. You don't want to move it. You want to wait until the actual injury and damage is healed. And then when you have all that weakness and scar tissue, that's when you want to start strengthening it. So same thing with the wrist. You know, I had to do kind of like the ankle. I mean, it's pretty much your ankle of your hand is your wrist. So that's that. Can't really give you guys too much extra stuff on that. The other big injury, though, was the arm. Now that's bone breaking. So now I'm going to go into detail about how to recover from breaking bones, because that's different than other tissues, and your ankles are very small bones, so they heal pretty fast as long as you don't act stupid. So I did a whole breakdown on my arm injury. You can search that up and find how I did it specifically, but I feel like this video is getting too long, so I'm going to run down and kind of just bullet point how I was able to heal the bone and not have surgery, because they were pushing surgery, wanting to cut my arm open, put plates and screws, and I was like, no. So on that, obviously, don't move it. That's the biggest thing. That's pretty hard to do. So get it all stabilized. Don't move it. You gotta like sit up late. Sit up at night when you sleep. That's what sucks with the arms. But this is going to be the same concept for healing the bone as like if you break your leg or something else. So I'm not really going to talk about my arm. I'm just going to talk about your bone. So the first few stages when you break a bone is there's a big giant blood ball that kind of gets formed, and then that goes to the site of the injury, and there's inflammation, and that's actually good. It starts cleaning up a bunch of the like shrapnel, and it actually will absorb like little tiny bone fragments that got loose because it needs to get rid of that, and it sees that as a pathogen. So inflammation is good the first I'd say 48 to 72 hours. The doctors kept wanting me to ice my arm and use like Percocet and other anti-inflammatories and painkillers, and I was just like, no, I'm letting it naturally run its course, because our ancestors, they probably got injured all the time trying to like run from wild animals and getting into fights and everything. And I mean, you're not going to want to ice it and try to reduce the inflammation. You want the inflammation. Chronic inflammation is bad for your health. That's a whole different story. But acute inflammation right when you actually get injured, that's your body's natural response. Like, it needs to heal. So don't ice it. Don't take anti-inflammatories. Just let it swell up. Let your body do its thing. Now, you know, if it's still swollen and inflamed and things are going on like a week later, then yeah, you should probably get that checked out. But the first few days, that's a natural response. You want that to happen. So then usually that'll go away on its own. I mean, if you are having some pain here and there, like after a week, then yeah, I guess go ahead and ice it, you know, try other things, but let the inflammation and swelling run its course for like the first few days. After that, you then your bone starts to like have little like collagen webs, and it starts to connect the bones and the fibers and all of that, and it tries to like kind of set, so it becomes like a little spongy substance that forms between the site of the bone break. And at this point, I think it's called webbing. I can't remember. This was 2 years ago, but well, year and a half. That starts to happen, and the main vitamins and minerals that you need are calcium and a lot of protein, because obviously protein is actually what helps build the bone. You want to get natural absorbable calcium. Don't be taking calcium carbonate, which is actually just crushed and shaved up limestone. And look up the difference between organic and inorganic minerals, because there's some that your body actually doesn't absorb, and you want a more absorbable form of calcium. And good ways to absorb calcium is taking vitamin D. Vitamin D3 is also a natural anti-inflammatory and an immune regulator, so it'll help with the swelling and how your immune system is dealing with your broken bone. And it helps your body uptake and suck up calcium. And just to balance the calcium out, and then also one of the things that's required to build bone is magnesium. So you want to do some magnesium, mostly calcium, protein, and vitamin D. It's got to be D3, which is the active form, or go out in the sun. Getting sunlight is good. Don't be wearing sunscreen. It's also better to get it more in the morning versus the afternoon. Apparently, based on studies, if the UV index is like 8 where you're located, whether it's at 11 a.m. or 2 p.m., it's better to get it more in the morning. You're less likely to burn, is what studies have shown. I don't exactly know why, but yeah, just get moderate sun exposure. So, you know, depending on how dark your skin is and your age and the latitude you're at, you know, just gauge how much sun. Obviously, you don't want to burn, and, you know, don't try to get too tan, but just having a little bit of skin exposed helps your body produce natural vitamin D. And if you're going to go that route, you definitely need to eat more cholesterol, which a lot of people would say don't, but like your body needs cholesterol to make vitamin D, to make hormones. All your cells are made of it. Again, that's a different subject for a health video, but vitamin D helps with calcium, helps with the inflammation, and you'll just naturally feel better too. Also, there's so many other crazy side effects. I won't even say side effects, but so many different benefits, of vitamin D. Calcium's good, and you want to try to get foods that are high in vitamin K2. I guess you could take a supplement, but there's like MK7 and K9. There's all these different MK4. Like there's the whole range of vitamin K2, and K2 is completely different than vitamin K. It's usually found in animal products like beef liver, aged cheeses, egg yolks, stuff like that. Fermented soybeans, a Japanese food, actually has high levels of vitamin K2 for some reason. I think it has to do with the probiotics and bacteria that they convert the vitamin K into K2. But yeah, K2, very important, because what K2 does is it takes the calcium out of your soft tissue in your bloodstream and it pushes it into the bone. So, you know, if you're just taking a ton of calcium but you're not really getting K2, it can actually like form into your soft tissue. It can form into your arteries. That's pretty bad calcification. So you want the calcium to be into your heart. So just look up foods that have high K2. So vitamin D3 with vitamin K2 with good absorbable natural forms of calcium, preferably not a supplement, and not fortified foods. You want it naturally. And you want protein, and taking collagen also helps. And yeah, you can take some collagen powder, but it's better to get it in a natural form. So I mean, I technically was doing both. I took some collagen here and there, but for the most part I tried to get it naturally from food. So like ribs, you want to eat the fat and the membrane. Eggs have it on like the outside of the shell. Tendons and the ligaments and stuff on like some of the food with the bone. You know, you want to get close to the bone to get the natural collagen. But speaking of bone broth is probably like the best natural source of collagen. So I mean, I was drinking and eating a lot of bone broth. And you want to eat the skin on like chicken skin that has collagen. There's just like a whole list of it, including like fish skin. So yeah, you want to get collagen. And then also you want vitamin C. Vitamin C, most people talk about like not getting sick, but vitamin C is also required for your body to make collagen. So obviously the animal collagen that you're eating does not just go straight into your body tissue, because it's not the same DNA. Body breaks it down into collagen peptides, and then it uses all those peptides and amino acids as building blocks, and then you need a little bit of vitamin C, and then your body's able to build its own collagen, and that helps replace tissues and all that, which collagen is in your bone, believe it or not. It's just very, very firm, and it's like collagen fused with calcium and other minerals. So yeah, you want a little bit of phosphate and magnesium to go with the calcium, because that's also in your bone. It's not just calcium. So yeah, and then the collagen also helps again with your tendons and ligaments, and just as like an anecdotal evidence, ever since I started taking more collagen and collagen supplements, my arthritis and like tendons and ligaments in my knees have been hurting less. So it does help with all of that. Some people, they just take it for skin and nails and hair, but it has helped with the connective tissue. So again, besides my weight, which I'm working on, I feel amazing. I've had over 30 injuries. I've gone to the doctor countless times. I've had x-rays, I've had MRIs, I've been just under like supervision and physical therapy many times. Like I pretty much know the routines, and then I've been on crutches. So I just, when I get injured now, it doesn't even hurt. It's just kind of disappointing, and I'm like, oh, really? Like now I can't do anything. This is an inconvenience. So I'm literally just like numb to the feeling of injuries. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful on how to heal your injuries and recover from them and what to do. So big summary is get your nutrition on point. Obviously you want to rest. I forgot to add sleep into that, but that should be pretty common, is sleep and recover, rest. Don't smoke or drink, because I mean that's just a stupid thing to do in general, and it's really bad for injuries because it's just going to slow things down. Diabetes also can mess up injuries and take longer to heal and recover, so at least like eliminate sugar when you're injured, because high blood glucose and sugar can impair the recovery process. So I'm not saying go full keto. I mean, you can, that's great, but just try to cut out processed sugars, and if you're going to eat carbs, eat them in moderation, eat them around your exercises or whatever you do. But again, that's a whole different video about nutrition. But yeah, so just make sure you're getting enough vitamins and minerals, and then you want to get the protein, vitamin D, calcium, vitamin K2, your electrolytes, and once you're healed, then start working on the stabilizing muscles, and then go from there, and then start trying to work on your range of motion and stretches. So you definitely want to do some stretching, and it keeps turning up. Oh snap. Anyways, you want to do the stretching, and once you get that range of motion back and you get the strength and stability, then you're good as new. Don't listen to what people tell you about, oh, you're going to have scar tissue. It's never going to be the same as before you had scar tissue. Like, I haven't noticed any difference. I have scar tissue all over my body, and it doesn't feel any weaker. My ankles don't feel weaker than before. My wrist doesn't feel weaker. Like, just, that's one thing I would say. Just ignore the whole thing. Like, you can rebuild muscle, and then the scar tissue can strengthen, and then you're working on the stabilizing areas. So that's my wrap up on healing injuries. Sorry if it seemed like a bit of a rant and some rambles, but I had to get all of the details out there on what you need to do, because some people, they just keep getting injured and they never heal, and then they complain and then they quit. Like, it's pathetic. There's so many people I see that say stuff like, I used to skateboard, I used to snowboard, but then I kept getting hurt, or I got injured, or I was always in pain, or my injuries would never heal. Like, it's excuses. Like, again, I don't even know how many times I've had to go to the doctor or hospital from injuries, and I'm still like, that's just a part of it. Heal fast, and get back into it. You know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So thank you for watching this video, and part 2 will be coming out based on how to fall properly so you don't get injured. So now we're gonna, talk about prevention versus the healing process. So thank you, and yeah.